Now, talking about the cloud-based services, we basically have three types of cloud-based services. The first one is SaaS, that is software as a service. Then we have PaaS, that is platform as a service. Then we have the last one, that is IaaS, that is infrastructure as a service. These are the three types of services that these clouds provide us. So, talking about this IaaS first, that is infrastructure as a service. The basic usage of this IaaS service is by the infrastructure architects. They use this service of infrastructure as a service using our clouds. So what all things they can access? They can access the server, the storage devices and the network using this IaaS. So it is basically being used by the infrastructure architect. The second one, PaaS, platform as a service. Now this platform as a service, this gets actually used up by the software developers who want to develop some software. So for development of some software, they would require some kind of platform to work on. They would require some kind of operating system, maybe Linux, Windows Vista, or some kind of platform they will be needing. So PaaS is the service for the software developers. Both all they can access, server they can access, storage, network, along with it they can access the operating system and the middleware part. Then the third one we have here, software as a service, which is being used by the end user. Any kind of end user, he can use this software as a service. What all things it will provide us? Server, storage, network, operating system and middleware. Along with it, certain kind of packaged softwares can be provided to the end users. So basically, if we have to categorize our cloud-based services, so we have categorized them into three parts: software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. Talking about the first one now, infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service, it is also known as hardware as a service. It is a computing infrastructure which is managed over the internet. The main advantage of using this IaaS is that it helps the user to avoid the cost and the complexity of purchasing and managing the physical servers. If we want to access the infrastructure, so using our cloud computing, we can access this infrastructure. We do not have to get into buying all these servers for ourselves physically. So that the user gets saved from, he can avoid the cost and complexity of purchasing and managing the physical server if he is using this infrastructure as a service of cloud computing. Now, what all characteristics this IaaS has? First, resources, they are available as a service. Any kind of resource can be accessed, any kind of storage can be accessed, any kind of server can be accessed using this IaaS. Second one, the services are highly scalable. They can be extended to any level. The services that provided us using this IaaS, these are highly scalable. Thirdly, dynamic and flexible. According to our requirement, we can avail any service, we can retain that particular service, or we can make changes into that service. So obviously this IaaS, it is dynamic and flexible in the usage by the user. Next one, GUI and API based access. It provides us with the kind of access the user wants, whether he want to access these services using the graphical user interface, or he wants to use some application programming interface for accessing the services. So both types of access is being provided to him according to his requirement, according to what he is more interested in, what he wants to use more, he can access these services. So it provides both GUI and API based access. GUI is graphical user interface, API is application programming interface. Next characteristic of IaaS is automated administrative tasks. Whatever tasks that are going to be performed using this IaaS services, they will all be automated. All kind of administrative tasks, they will be automated. They will get done automatically. The user will not have to involve himself into doing these administrative tasks. They will be done or in an automated way. Example of this infrastructure as a service nowadays which are being used is Digital Ocean. We have the Link Code, we have the Amazon Web Services, we have the Microsoft Azure, which provide us with this infrastructure as a service. Then we have Platform as a Service that we call PaaS. Now PaaS, cloud computing platform, it is created for the programmer basically to develop, to test, to run and to manage the application. If we have a software developer, he wants to develop some application, so he would definitely be requiring certain kind of platform to develop that application. When the application it gets developed, it has to be tested, it has to be run onto a particular platform and is to be managed. So platform as a service, it is definitely going to help that particular developer for easily accessing that particular platform. So there are following characteristics of this platform as a service. First, it is accessible to various users via the same development application. Various users, they can access that particular platform and they can work on that platform. So it is accessible to various users via the same development application. Secondly, it integrates with the web services and the databases. Obviously, the platform that we are working on, we are developing our application, so we would be requiring certain web services for testing, for running those applications. We may be requiring certain databases, so they can be integrated onto that particular platform for our software developers. Then it builds on the virtualization technology, so the resources, they can easily be scaled up and down as per the organization's need. So basically in cloud computing here, we are talking about this concept of virtualization technology. So since we are doing everything virtually, so the resources here, they can be scaled up to any extent. Next, it supports the multiple languages and frameworks. Onto our platform, we can use any computer programming language that we want. We have number of frameworks for any kind of development that we want to have. So nowadays there are so many development. If a person is working on to artificial intelligence, so many frameworks are available to him. Like he has PyTorch option, he has Keras option, he has TensorFlow option. So many frameworks are available to him. So now he does not know which framework he has to use. He cannot go and buy any particular framework. What he can do, he can access this platform as a service using cloud computing and work on any of the platform framework that he wants. He can use any language. He can use Python, Java, C, C++, any language that is comfortable in. So it supports multiple languages, multiple frameworks. So any person, any developer, software developer, he can use any framework to without having any concern about the cost of that particular framework, about that for how much time he can use it. He can access those frameworks for any amount of time that he wants. Then it provides an ability of auto scaling. You can also auto scale your devices using this platform as a service. Example of it is our Amazon Web Services Elastic Beanstalk, which is AWS, we call it in short, AWS Elastic Beanstalk. Then we have the Windows Azure. So these are the few examples of this platform as a services which can be used by the software developer to develop, to test, to run and to manage the application. So this is the second service that our cloud computing provides us, platform as a service. Then we have the last one, that is software as a service, that we call SaaS in short. It is also known as on-demand software. So it is a software in which the applications, they are hosted by the cloud service provider. Users, they can access these applications with the help of internet connection and web browsers. You might be knowing about the Google Docs. So using this Google Docs, it is also a cloud computing service. Using this Google Docs, you can access any of the resources. You can access any of the document, any of the software. So these kind of services are being provided using these cloud servers, that we can access any software on our demand using this cloud service providers. Talking about these characteristics of software as a service, first, it is managed from a central location. There is a central location where it is all going to be managed. Second, another important characteristic is it is hosted on a remote server. So we can access the resources even though we do not have availability of all the resources with us, but we can access those resources using the remote server since it is hosted on the remote server. Next characteristic of it is accessible over the internet. We can access these resources over the internet. Then the next characteristic would be users, they are not responsible for the hardware and the software updates. Updates, they are applied automatically. Suppose today I am purchasing some particular software for myself. So it is going to be my responsibility to keep on updating it time to time for making me use it in a better way. But when we are using the software as a service using cloud computing, so it is not our headache, it is not our responsibility to do any kind of updations onto it. The users, they are not responsible for any kind of hardware and software update. They will be done automatically using by the cloud service providers. Then the services, they are obviously used on the pay per use basis. This is another very important advantage that this cloud services they are providing us. We do not have to worry about that if we are using this particular service. If we want to purchase any particular software, so we have to spend so much such high amount into purchasing that software. It can be used using these cloud computing, and as per our usage we need to pay to the providers. So these services, the services provided using the cloud computing, they are generally used using the pay per use model. Example of software as a service: BigCommerce, Google Apps, Salesforce. These are all some common examples of software as a service. So these are three basic cloud based services that are being provided to us. One is the infrastructure as a service, where we can access any kind of infrastructure, any kind of resources using our cloud computing. Then platform as a service, the software developers, if they want to generate some application, so they need to work on that any particular platform, so that platform can be provided to them using this platform as a service of cloud computing. The last one, software as a service, which is also known as on-demand software. That means you can access any software using these cloud service provider, and you there do not have to worry about the updations of the software, any kind of changes onto the software. You can access that particular software, you can use it and do your work using that particular software. So the examples that we have seen of these cloud computing services are BigCommerce, Salesforce, Windows Azure, Amazon Web Services, Google Apps. These are all the providers who are providing us with these cloud computing services.